Yeah, it looks a little strange, but everybody's sleeping. It's middle of the day. If you go by Muhurta, it's around 2:30 until 4 to sleep. We just take a little rest and everything. I wanted to present something without persons looking at it as a downgrading the Supreme Personality of God. I'm not downgrading the Supreme Personality of God, but he had a job. He didn't do it in Mathura. He didn't do it in Vrindavan. He did it in Dwarka, offshore and everything. But if one investigates, first of all, just before Krishna comes, sometime before, the Indus Valley was the big place. But then the water fell. And because the water fell, that route, if someone looks it up, you go to Indus, it's northern part, the west part, northern part, right off the Indian Ocean. They could take boats, and they didn't just take, small boats. They took boats with masts. In other words, boats that used wind to travel. Because there are models that they find in the Indus Valley and everything, and there was a lot of market there. And if somebody looks at it, it goes up in, just bordering the Himalayas, and it goes up to what you would call the north route to China. So the north route's all, up there. So, but it's only available during the times that it's not so cold and everything. But still, it was the northern route. So it was a big route. But then all of a sudden the water fell, and there were incredible ports there in the Indus Valley. I mean, well-constructed ports, a well-constructed village and everything. But it fell. So then you move down a little south, and you get to Dwarka. Now, Dwarka, there are also rivers for transportation. The Saraswati River was coming in. Actually, it became like a Triveni. I can't remember the third name. But the Narmada Nidhi and the Saraswati, and I think the Ushmad River, they all united. And it was a huge river. Even described in the Mahabharata. In that time, the Mahabharata described Yamuna Devi just like flooded, and Saraswati flooded. So if you look at that, even you could go to Kurukshetra by the Saraswati. That's pretty good. And Kurukshetra is where the kingdom of the Kauravas was, close to the Kurukshetra. The kingdom of the Pandavas was more south in Delhi area, Indraprastha. So Krishna could easily go back and forth. There was motivation. You could travel up and down the river, no problem. They didn't have to go by land and everything; they go by river. And here he's got an island, and and he makes the island, gold, a lot of gold on the island. So he's attracting all these people. And also, I don't know where that light came from, but it's good. I see. Yeah. So then, I'm trying to give a picture of the strategy of Krishna, how he was so strategic in, making this come true. He wants to put everything into like one place. He wants to get rule over what? Any type of merchandise. He is the ruler now. And now, who was the big ruler? At the end of the Gangas, it was Jarasandha. So now if you're sitting in Bihar and you're waiting for the people to bring their merchandise and then charge them taxes, and then you got this guy on an island, he's just disrupting everything. So you got to kill him. We can't do with this. Of course, that happened right after Krishna moved from Mathura. So, but Jarasandha, he was. And people are just so foolish. They don't know how many soldiers there were. So if there's so many soldiers, imagine how many people there are. there was just enormous amount of soldiers. So here you got the whole route that favored Jarasandha was, okay, Indus is out. Okay, now I that's been blocked. Now they're going to come, and maybe they'll come up the Narmada, and from the Narmada they'll just come into near the Triveni, and easy to get to the Triveni from Narmada Nidhi. And the Narmada Nidhi was pretty big. It said that it could have heavy duty, big boats go up it. So you got the Tapia, you got the Narmada, you got so many rivers you could come up with, But who's sitting there collecting taxes and giving a good place? Here, before you travel anymore, here's a golden city, have some fun, And, his men drank. So get drunk, you're sailors, have some fun, and then you go on your way. So he got him trapped. So he's got all the financial control, the whole financial control of what was coming into India. And if possible, the person wants to go totally around India, at least they had a resting place before trying to go around India. Of course, Jarasandha gets killed before the Battle of Kurukshetra, way before so. But one thing, they had a hall there in that Krishna had to come and sit as like the king and everything. But that king or those kings, they didn't do what they wanted to. They always took consultations. So they had consultations. Now that palace was put there by the demigods. It was brought from the celestial planets, and it was put there by the demigods. So you got this thing, and what's the whole thing going on? It's merchandise, it's money, it's like make money time, and everything is adjusted in that way. But Krishna has to have his men to protect. He's got to have his army and men to protect. So these people were called from the different celestial planets to come here and take birth. They weren't like propagated here on this planet, but they had come to take birth and to fight a war. So that's what he was building up to. Now, he lived until 125 years old. He left, when he was about, I would say he left Vrindavan around 12 or 13. Then he left Mathura shortly after. And then after, he studied at Sandipani in that's another thing, That's also on a very prominent river, on the Vindhya mountain range, where he studied. So, all these places were merchants, just incredible amount of merchants. And everybody wants something from the merchant. Everybody likes something from the merchants, Though it was actually a merchant. I put it as a merchant's fight. Who's going to do the best, what is it, GOP? Who's going to get the gross profit for their country the most? That's what it actually, from one point of view, is there. And the elimination, okay, everybody from the celestial planets that wants to fight, come. Everybody from, it's known, they even came from South America. So he made such an arrangement that let's put, and 630 million people left this planet in 18 days. 18 days of fighting, 630 million people left. Okay? And then you always have prisoners. There's just no way around it. There's always prisoners. So the prisoners, they were taken. And where were they taken? They were taken, let's put them, where the Sukacharya has reigned and everything. So let's put them in Israel, Iran, and places like that, you know. And that's enough, because that is arid land. You can't grow many things. You can't become big or anything. So you really lose popularity. You'd have to become, all those countries depend on merchandise moving. If merchandise is not moving, then it's just hell. It's just hell. So that's the basic thing of merchandise moving. You know, so it's, if you look at it in that way, Krishna is one of the biggest businessmen, world, universe businessman, who wanted to put everything back in order. So at least the common person can live all right. Yeah, I mean, you can take the spiritual side of it and everything, but don't omit how smart Krishna was, you know. I mean, I could send videos and showing backup and everything, how it actually happened, how he had, you know, or he had orchestrated the killing of 630 million men. Yeah, he didn't bring the children or anything into it, just the men who wanted to fight, and let them fight over it. Yeah. And then just get the trade routes back settled in. As soon as he left, the Dwarka wasn't necessary anymore. It wasn't necessary. The trade routes wouldn't be any better or any worse if Dwarka was gone. There was no use for it anymore. So then it just got flooded over and taken away. And also, you know the story, how even his own men killed each other. You know, so that was it. It's over with. But a lot got left, and a lot got just transported over to Israel and Iran and places like that, and left there to fend for themselves. It's just boggling when people try to not even think of how we could have been. You know, they can't even imagine how many thousands and thousands of people were alive on this planet, and they were all being maintained, you know, because of sacrifice. Because not just sacrifice of, but sacrifice to Krishna. Because of this sacrifice to Krishna and everything, a lot of people were being maintained. Now, because of the lack, not the lacks, but the lack of those sacrifices, now we're suffering, and we're wondering who's going to eat my food. You know, everybody's wondering who's going to take my place, who's going to take my food, who's going to take... Back then, it wasn't like that. You know, you could travel. You could travel back and forth. Yeah. Anyways, just to get a point across, that a lot of the people in Israel, they're actually part of the descendants of those that came down to help in the Kurukshetra war. And now they're here on this planet, they don't know what to do with themselves. They just, their minds are not programmed like a nice, comfortable, earthly planet, and do your crops, feed your family, everything's nice and gentle. No, they want much more than that. Yeah, I just put that out. Oh, a little tired here. Yeah. Okay, cowherd. I always put the cowherd boys to sleep at 2:30, and we'll wake up around 4:30. You know, about an hour and something. I don't know. I think the Muhurta is around. Let's see. I was in the 50s still. The day Muhurta is in the 50s still. I could figure it out easily. It's nice to know. It's nice to follow the Muhurtas. It's natural. Yeah. I would have liked to see Krishna as the big, businessman. I mean, can you imagine? He's sitting with all these demigods and everything. He's taking their advice. He's not just sitting there, but he's taking their advice, and they're coming up with solutions for this and solutions for that, and this is what we have to do. He wasn't taking everything on his head, He was looking after everybody in the best way he could. Okay, Haribo, Haribo.